Welcome to Mad Props. I am your host, Chris Schnabel, and I want to thank you all for being here today. Today, we do not have a guest. I am trying to not have a guest every episode so I can kind of, build the viewer to learn more about me, the host. But today we are going to go over some mailbag questions. The reason we're going to do that is because a while ago, the last time we did a mailbag, I said, submit your mailbag questions. And then I always forget about this email. So I went back and there are some in front of me. You see me looking off camera. If you're watching, I'm looking at these in interview questions, or at least the emails on there. I have names. I actually have places people are from. And I have about 30 questions here, it looks like. Yeah, it looks about 30 questions here. So we're going to go through them. I haven't looked at them yet, so I'm going to do them all off the cuff, which will be a lot of fun. Before we get started, please follow us on social media at Mad Props Pod on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook. We've been posting a lot more on TikTok and YouTube Shorts. So make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube if you're watching right now. It's right below there. You could just go subscribe right now. Leave us a comment and let us know what you're thinking of the episode. We'd love to hear from you, love to hear questions from you, comments from you, whatever it is. Also, May 24th at 4:15 p.m., I will be at Comicpalooza giving a panel. It is the first time I'm ever giving a panel, and I'm doing it for this podcast you're listening to right now. Yes, this one, Mad Props, is giving a panel at Comicpalooza May 24th at 4:15 p.m. You're not going to want to miss it. It's called The Art of Interview. It may have a guest. It may not have a guest. I'm not sure. I'm also trying to do something the day before, May 23rd. At one of the booths. I may have a guest. They'll be joining virtually, but it's a guest. If you are into comics or you are into Comic-Con, you will not want to miss. It's one of the biggest comic guests maybe ever that we've had on this podcast. We've had some good ones. Just had Kyle Higgins. We've had Scott Koblis. We've had Andy Smith, but this guy might top them all. So May 23rd, you're going to want to go to see that. May 24th, you're going to want to come see me at the panel. Please come say hi. I would love to meet anybody that's listening to the podcast that's out there. Comicpalooza, May 24th, 4:15 p.m. on the main stage. I will be giving a panel to all of you. And then these user questions can just be live. I'm going to make that into an episode as well. I will have cameras there. I will have microphones on me to really boost it and put it out for people that may not have been able to go. I know a lot of people are friends and family. I know a lot of people are not from from Houston or live around Houston. I know some of you guys don't even live in the United States, and I thank you guys so much for listening. I see the stats. We do have a lot of people from outside the country that listen, which is really cool, honestly. But that means you can't go see it. You're not flying to Houston. I wouldn't fly all the way to Houston to see me. There are other cool people: Charlie Cox, Kristen Ritter, Vincent D'Onofrio. I hope I said that right. Lawrence Fishburne, Edward James Olmos, Steve from Blues Clues. There's some really good people that are going to be there. So if you want to see those people, then yes, come out and stick around to see me. But if you're coming just to see me, just wait until I come to you, or just send me a message. You don't really need to come see me. I'll say hi to you no matter what. You can shoot me an Instagram message at Chris Schnabel, or just say hi to me on TikTok. I don't really check it that much anymore. I need to start posting more on there. That is something we're going to start doing more on the YouTube channel specifically, and maybe a little bit on TikTok, is doing videos outside of the podcast. I have a couple of ideas set up that we're going to start filming to give more content than just the podcast. There's some things we've been working on, but never really were able to follow through with. And I think it's time to start doing that now that I have not downtime, but time to think about this kind of stuff. So stay tuned for that kind of stuff as well, because that's going to be really cool. I don't think I'm going to play the intro. I think we're just going to go straight into these questions and then get going. So no intro today. So you guys are blessed not to hear the intro. I do like the song, but I'm not going to play it today. We're just going to go right into it. We're going to get right into the podcast here with the questions. Again, before I start, though, I know I just pitched it for really long, but this is not part of the read or anything like that. If you are in, around, or close to Houston, Texas, and you can go to the George R. Brown Convention Center on May 24th, please come say hi. Like, I want to know that you heard this and that you are a fan and that you want to come say hi. It would really mean a lot to me, more than even going to the panel itself. Like, if you were only there on the Saturday and you were able to see me on the Saturday, like, just come say hi. It would really mean a lot because I'd be interested to hear how you found out about the podcast or why you're there in the first place and stuff like that. So that's really all I have to say about that. Thank you guys so much for listening, the people that are going to be there. Okay. Speaking of Houston, Texas, the first email. Now, so by the way, I took these emails. I didn't read any of them. I took them. I put them into an AI system to kind of just put them in order for me, where I didn't have to read them. So it just says like the person's name, where they're from, and the question, if they have where they're from. A good amount of people kind of do. Some people don't, though. So that's kind of where that is from there. So now I'm reading off of a list. That's how I knew there were like 30 questions as well. I didn't go, oh, the counting through all 30 emails. Maybe I only took 30 emails. I don't even know. There was a lot of them on there. I always forget to check. If you want to submit a question, madpropspod@gmail.com is the place to do it. Madpropspod@gmail.com. You can submit a question. You can say hi. I will tell you, it does not go viewed until I go, hey, I should do a mailbag question. The reason I'm doing a mailbag question, not only do we not have a guest, but because of Comicpalooza, where it's going to be a panel where you guys can ask me questions. So we're going to do one here. And then in a couple weeks, we're going to do one real. So we're going to start from there. So the first one I got here is from, it says Jake from Houston. What was your first interview or shoot where you felt like, okay, this can become a career? Well, this isn't really a career for me. It's a very, very time-consuming hobby, unfortunately. I do really enjoy it. I love doing this. I don't do it. I don't really get paid for it, though. We are going to try to start doing different things where maybe it can be financially, fiscally, something. But I don't really consider it a career. I do have a job outside of this, and I work very hard at that job. But this isn't really something that is like that. So I appreciate the question. I don't think it's a career. When is it something I thought I could continue to do? I just love doing it. My first love was broadcasting. I wanted to be a journalist. I wanted to be an on-air sports person. I've called a lot of play-by-play and color analyst for baseball. I've done a lot of play-by-play for basketball. I've done play-by-play for hockey. I've done play-by-play for volleyball, like soccer, a lot of different sports. I've done play-by-play or I've been an analyst for, because that was the first thing I really wanted to do. A lot of people said I had the voice for it. I definitely understand the flow of it, and I really enjoyed doing it. But over time, my career has kind of shifted. I started doing videography. I started working in different areas like that. I almost just completely ditched and became a baseball coach. I did coach baseball for about 4 years without doing any sort of videography or broadcast. But even in that time, I was doing podcasting. I was on radio while I was in college. I tried to be on radio a couple different places. I was actually still doing radio interviews for my college, WNHU 88.7 in Connecticut. Up until a year or two after. And then I kind of just went off on my own. I did it for a couple websites. I tried to do it on my own. Podcasting wasn't the same thing as it is today. There wasn't really like, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts. Like it was like YouTube, website, hope people find it. But we did a couple different things. That's where some of the throwbacks we used to do, Waka Flocka, Hannibal Buress, Mobb Deep, the first Monica Abbott. We have two Monica Abbotts. First one was with a website I used to work for, Banner Sports Journal. And then the second one was Mad Props. Ali Alberts, former LFL player. So like different people like that I've done with other websites. But I've been podcasting and stuff for a while. It's just a big passion of mine. I wouldn't call it a career. But when I thought I could do it, it's because I wanted to do it all along. So I just kept pushing along. There wasn't a moment that was like an aha moment for me. And this one says from Megan. Out of all the guests you've had on Mad Props, who surprised you the most once the cameras started rolling? Surprised me the most. I don't know if I have one that was like, oh, wow, or anything like that. The biggest surprise I've ever had was Julius Thomas. So I saw Hamilton traveling when I was in Spokane, Washington. And I was like, I need to talk to that guy. He was just unbelievable. If you've never seen Julius live, find a show and go see him because he is unbelievably good. But I saw him as Hamilton. I was like, I have to talk to that guy. And I had producers at this time. We still have producers now, but not like then. We had like 6 producers at the time. I don't think they were all there, but I had one there. And I start talking with Julius about Hamilton because at the time, Mad Props, if you go back before this episode, Mad Props was very question answer. It was a little casual, but it was very question answer. and I'm doing question answer, and I have comic books in the back. And he goes like, "Oh, do you like comic books? I like comic books." And for like the next hour and change, we just talked about comic books. Afterwards, Julius was like, "Man, that was a breath of fresh air. I always have to talk Hamilton. I always have to talk the tour. I always have to talk about the songs or whatever. I didn't have to think about any of this. I just got to talk about something I enjoyed." And from that moment, I was like, wow, eye opener. That's what we need to do. And that's why we try to dig into things that aren't necessarily the career oriented. Yeah, like we do get into that kind of stuff, but they're more questions that like aren't, well, why did you start doing this? Or why is this your passion? It's more of like, how do you create this and how does it change your career when you're doing this? How do you get your mind off of it? Things that can create more conversation outside of just the thing they're known for. So that, I wouldn't say any, there's people that surprised me because they were bad on camera or they were awful guests, but I'm not going to get into that. But for a positive one, that one kind of changed the entire trajectory of Mad Props as a whole. So I'll say Julius Thomas coming on. Thanks, Megan, for that question. That was a great question. Tyler from New York. Do you still keep in touch with any former guests after the episode's release? Actually, this is really fun because I just went to Nostalgicon to see Carlos Alazraqui. Well, it was actually to see Rob Paulsen and Matt Hill, and some upcoming guests that were also there. And then, like 2 days before I left, I had Carlos on the podcast. We recorded at least, and he told me he was going to be in Dallas as well. So I got to meet Carlos Alazraqui there, which was really cool. And yes, the short answer is yes. There are a lot of people that I still keep in touch with. Some of them I can actually consider friends now. Julius is one of them. I consider Julius a friend. Adam Mamawala, I consider a friend as well. But Rob Paulsen, I still talk to him, not all the time, but pretty regularly. For former guests, I guess I wouldn't say regularly either, but I keep in touch with him. Keep in touch with Matt Hill. Carlos Alazraqui's new, but I've kept in touch with him so far. Yeah, I keep in touch with a good amount of guests that come on because I want them to be comfortable. If they are willing to keep in touch with you, that means they were comfortable when they came on. It is a compliment we get off air a lot, is like, you were great, this was fun, like we'll have to do it again. I get a lot of, we need a part two. And hopefully some of those part twos will be coming soon, but we do get a lot of that. I occasionally hear from Darren Nefsey, who that was almost 6 years ago now. Um, Occasionally hear from Ryan Kelly, that was 6 years ago. So there are people that we still do keep in touch with, or I should say I still keep in touch with, but it's mostly just because like the experience was so good for them that they're excited to continue a relationship outside of just that. I saw Tab Murphy in LA. I talk with him decently regularly. Ava Bunn, we went to go see her, talk with her recently. Actually, was just texting her, congratulating her that Scrubs got the season 2 or the season 11, whatever you want to call it. They renewed Scrubs and stuff like that. She just did a show out in LA. I wish I could promote it, but it's already over. Because she's hilarious, and if you live in LA, you should go see it. So the short answer is yes. Keep in touch with a good amount, not all of them, but a decent amount of people that have been on the show. Absolutely. Chris from Orlando. What's the hardest interview you've ever had to prepare for? Hardest interviews, I'm going to lump this because I'm not going to say the hardest interview, because there's been a couple hard ones for a couple different reasons. Sometimes the person's really difficult. They won't send you the piece they're trying to promote, and then when you ask them questions, they tell you to go look at the piece that they wouldn't send you, kind of thing, which is not great. But the hardest part of the interview, preparing for an interview, probably, and I'll talk more about this at Comicpalooza as well. The hardest part about preparing for an interview is when you have somebody on that there's not a ton of information about. You almost have to question answer it to pull something out of them during the interview process. One thing that I do before every interview is I try to take the first 20 minutes with somebody and just talk to them. No cameras rolling. It's just me and them and maybe a producer, but it's just us, no cameras rolling, just trying to get comfortable. Sometimes it's quick. Sometimes people just want to get going. Sometimes people, I hit it off with them quick. Like Rob Paulsen, we hit it off pretty quickly, so we just started rolling. Ava Bunn hit it off pretty quickly. We just started going. But other people, it takes a little longer to warm up. So I'll talk to them for a good 15, 20 minutes before, and they're like, you know what? I think we should start rolling. And then we go. And I usually try to take that time to understand somebody more, especially when there's not much known about them publicly. Like, it's very easy to prepare for Rob Paulsen. It's very easy to prepare for Charlie Rosen. It's very easy to prepare for Darren Nefsey. It's not easy to prepare for some of these people that are really up and coming or just starting to touch the surface of becoming successful in their field. You know what I mean? Like, or they're growing in their field, however you want to say it. You really got to pry a little bit more, and that's a lot tougher. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I use every tool you can. I use Google, obviously. I use their Instagram pages. I use their Facebook pages. I use AI. I listen to a ton of podcasts. If I have the time, I will listen to a bunch of podcasts that they've been on, whether it's somebody new or somebody that has a lot of information on them. I'll listen to a ton of things just to hear what they say. I'll scan through articles. Like, I do the research, and that's why we usually have good interviews, because I really try to lock in on what this person likes to do, what their hobbies are outside of things, and really try to lock in. So the hardest one is when you don't really know people. You don't really know people that well, or they're still up and coming. Amanda from Spokane. I'm a student at Gonzaga, and I saw that your show started at Gonzaga. How did your time with the Zags help approach sports media today? I thought that was going to go in a different direction. Yeah, I'll talk a little bit about that. Um, I picked Gonzaga as a grad school because I thought that there was a lot of opportunity there. I noticed that there wasn't a sports management club that we were able to create. I noticed there was a lot of opportunity within different sports, and obviously with the basketball team, if you were able to get in with them, there's big opportunity because it's a national brand. Um, my time with Gonzaga really helped me shape who I wanted to be. I actually originally went to Gonzaga to be a coach or an AD or something like that. I was going to get away from sports media. But when I got there and COVID shut everything down, I lost my ability to be a coach there. And I got moved over to the video role because they needed somebody. I wanted to be paid for what I was doing. And that's kind of how I got back into it. So the opportunities that were given to me by Gonzaga's were really helped me along the way and helped me get to where I am today in sports. From Lewis, how did you first get into filming sports instead of movies or TV? I got into filming sports because I I did enjoy other aspects. I never really wanted to get in. I actually started in TV and I hated it. I went down to a filming of the Dr. Oz show to shadow slash interview, and I did not like it. I didn't like the surrounding. I didn't want to be in the I didn't want to be in the union. I didn't want any of that stuff. So I never really pursued TV. Movies, I don't have that type of eye. When it comes to videography, video editing, things like that, like, I'm a good camera person. I'm very good at being in the right spot. I understand not only the sport, but the movements of a sport. So I'm very good at being in the right spot, and not just by luck, by happenstance, by really knowing what's going on in the field in front of you. But also when I edit, or when I am approving edits, I'm very good at seeing small details that no one else would see, quick frame flashes, things like that, that really help spruce things up. I will also have a very good social eye when it comes to cutting things, thanks to things like this, Mad Props, where I've had to adapt over time, and you kind of see what you need to do there. I don't remember what the question was. Why did I go into sports instead? Well, I wanted to be a broadcaster. That didn't work out, so I went behind the camera because it didn't work out that way. And I enjoy doing it. The intensity and the love of sports really helps drive it as well. And I love what I do. Sarah from Plano, Texas. That's cool. I lived in Plano, Texas. I don't know any Sarahs there. Sorry, Sarah, I don't know you. Have you ever completely messed up during an interview or a shoot? Well, I'm going to take the shoot out of there because I've messed up plenty of times. I've never messed up during an interview. I'm sure I have many times. I'm sure if you go back and listen, especially to the early ones, there's just some bad stuff in there. early on, I messed up. I would say with Waka Flocka, I went a little too long, and he started to get like annoyed. The questions were kind of just becoming vague, just to continue and keep it going for longer. That was something I learned early, and now I realize I could kind of sense when it's time to wrap it up. I would say the biggest ones, I wouldn't say messed up, but I would say the biggest ones for me on interviews, is if I'm just really tired or I'm sick or just not into it. You can usually tell because I just don't process the same. I'll pat myself on the back. I could process things pretty fast and come back with things pretty fast. I would say 95% of the questions in Mad Props are completely and totally improvised. I usually come in with a couple facts, maybe one or two emergency questions. I call them the emergency off-road questions, like the trucks when you see on the highway, they have like an emergency off-road in case the truck's brakes go out. Those are my questions for like if I am full speed, but I got nothing, I go to my emergency brake exits questions. So you can definitely tell that. So I wouldn't say messed up. There's nothing I really messed up. I've never missed an interview. I've never really been late for an interview. I've waited for people, but I've never been waited on, thankfully, for an interview. Which would be, I would say that's how you mess up or getting something wrong. I don't really get facts wrong. Like I said in a past answer, I do a lot of research. So I don't really get facts wrong too often. Maybe small facts, but never major facts, thankfully. Thank you, Sarah, for that question. I wish I got to know you when I was in Plano, but I'm no longer there. Okay. Ben from Boston. Oh, I think I know who this might be. Ben from Boston. Nice to hear from you. What's one project you worked on that people would be shocked to know stressed you out behind the scenes? Um, I'm gonna keep it within my own realm, and Mad Props can do that. I would say the biggest stress with Mad Props is when people don't show up because most of the time you never hear back from them. I've had some. There's one that's coming up in the next few weeks that's coming on, that we've had back and forths with. Um, One of the biggest stressors actually is a future guest that's coming on, hopefully. Um, that they themselves told me they want to come on as soon as possible, but their agent won't let them on for months. And because I don't have direct contact to anybody, it's hard for me to do anything with that. But that's a back and forth that stresses me out because it's not that stress, it's just frustrating to me when somebody does that. Um, I can't think of anything that stressed me out, but that does frustrate me when somebody just doesn't show up and then they never say anything. Like if you don't show up and you say, "Oh my God, I forgot," or "Oh, I double booked," whatever, that's one thing. It's okay. But when you don't show up and I don't hear anything, I don't even try to rebook you. It's you're some people have not shown up and then a week later they go, "Oh my God, I forgot," or something like that. Um, usually you get a couple of follow-up emails and a phone call when you don't show up. So when I have to wait that long, I'm kind of over it. Um, I wasn't going to answer this one. Jordan from Hartford, Connecticut asked, looking back on Hartford Athletic days, what was your favorite social media moment you created? I wasn't going to answer that, but I could give a quick answer on that. It was a schedule release video that I did with all the video games. That's still probably that was probably the peak of my creation days for stuff like that. It's just so good. Luckily, we were a small enough team where we didn't get any copyright infringement or anything like that. Nintendo never came after us, but it absolutely blew up, and I'm really proud of that one. I still show it off to people to this day. Emily from Chicago, I know who that is too. What's your dream Mad Props guest that still feels impossible right now? Well, Charles Martinet, I've said for years, is my dream guest. I've wanted him on for absolute years. I get denials from, I mean, I'm telling you, I've been trying to get him on since I was in WNHU, and I get denies from him. I understand he's very busy and he doesn't probably want to do a ton of things. They don't know much about this podcast, so it makes sense. But I mean, when I met him a couple of years ago and I had like a couple interactions with him, I really wanted to be like, "Hey, would you want to come on my podcast?" He's an absolute dream guest for me. I really, really, really would love to have him on because he voices my favorite character of anything all time. But I would say it feels impossible because we've for years have tried. I'm saying like 10 plus years, maybe 15 years. Let me think. 10. Yeah, probably almost. Yeah, like 13 years. I've tried to get him on since I was on WNHU, and it just doesn't happen, unfortunately. So, Charles Martinet would be my dream guest. Charles, if you're listening, would love to have you on, buddy. And I hope you're enjoying that phone. I hope you're enjoying the Mario phone that you gave me. He actually signed, if you're watching back here, a comic book for me, and I can't pull it out right now because it needs to be reframed, but the Mike Tyson and Charles Martinet punch out thing signed by both of them, which was really cool. Charles, I love you. Okay. Where was I? Okay. Kevin from New York. Do you ever get nervous before interviewing celebrities or athletes anymore? I've never really gotten nervous in the first place. I have that story that you can go back on the Mad Props Pod Instagram to see. We just reposted it because unfortunately John Sterling passed away. But that was the only time I've really gotten starstruck ever was go running into him. I've never really gotten starstruck. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. When I go up to celebrities, I just don't care about the status of the celebrity. Um, I don't know. I don't know why it is, but I've never really gotten starstruck to begin with. Some I get excited for, and I still get excited every single time. When Rob Paulsen comes on, I'm losing my mind. When Phil LaMarr comes on, I'm losing my mind. When Carlos Alazraqui comes on, I'm losing my mind because I watched all their shows when I was a kid, and as people may know, I love cartoons. So I you okay? So I do get excited, but never nervous. Never nervous. Never really have. That's why I like doing this. Rachel said, "What guest made you laugh the hardest during an episode?" Oh, ha! I don't know if I can answer that because I don't know who made me laugh the hardest. Slade Ham was hilarious. I haven't really heard from him. I should reach out to him again. I am now in the Houston area, and that's where he was from. He's hilarious. I love him. He was really funny. Frankie was really funny. I laughed a ton when Frankie came on. Um, most guests are pretty good, and especially the ones that like try to be funny. They usually are pretty good at being funny. I don't really fake laugh. I'll give the or something like that, but I don't fake like real. I don't go all full Jimmy Fallon ever. If it's not that funny. So that's cool. Derek wrote, "Have there ever been, oh, wait, sorry, have there been any guest you thought would only talk for 20 minutes and end up staying longer?" Yeah, all of them. Julius Thomas, Rob Paulsen, Phil LaMarr. Sheesh. I mean, the list goes on and on. Anytime somebody big comes on, I don't expect them to stay for that long. They're not expected to. We do say 30 to 60 minutes, but I try to make sure to accommodate their time as well as possible. I never expect any of them to go on. I never do. But they do, and that's what comes back to like one of the answers from before. Like when they come on and they stay for a while, that means they're enjoying what they're doing, and if they're enjoying what they're doing, that means we're doing something right. So that's what we try to do. We try to do something right, and yeah, I never expect anybody to ever do anything because why would they, kind of thing. Okay, sorry, I'm clicking to the next one here. That was Derek. Anthony from the Bronx. I see you're a Yankees fan, always wearing the hat. Yes, I'm wearing it right now. What's your all-time favorite baseball memory? I have a lot of them, but my from playing, it was when I was in the senior league, little league, Babe Ruth league, whatever you want to call it. We were playing all stars, and I had the game tying double in the championship game for regionals that cleared the bases down three. Almost was a grand slam. Jordan Robles, former guest as well, came on after that, drove me home. We won. That was amazing. As a fan, I've worked with Aaron Judge twice, and nothing can really top that. It's tough. Even like baseball memories, like the first time I went to Yankee Stadium, it's tough to top working with Aaron Judge multiple times, and having those experiences. So that's got to be what it is. All right, Noah from California. Oh, Los Angeles, California. Have you ever had a guest cancel last minute or something go completely wrong before recording? Well, I've already said there's been a lot of guests that cancel last minute. I've had some guests that have been rebooked that have canceled last minute as well. Something gone completely wrong. I'm not going to say any specific stuff, but I've had guests come on and tell me you have to pay for me to be on camera. I've had guests come on and say I have a book I'm trying to promote, but I will not send it to you. I've had guests come on and say I can only do 8 minutes when it was told before 30 to 60. So there's been a lot of things like that. For as many good guests as we've had some tough ones as well. Samantha from Dallas. Hey, Samantha. Wasn't the other one named Samantha too? From Plano? I'm going back. Oh, Sarah from Plano. Sorry. Samantha. Samantha from Dallas. Um, Thank you for everybody for sending in. Did I say send in where you're from? I may have. I must have. There's a lot of people that said where they're from. There's a couple coming up that don't. Maybe this ordered it in that way, but thank you for the people that sent where you're from. That's awesome. What's something misunderstood about podcasting? Misunderstood about podcasting. I'm going to rephrase that question. Sorry, Samantha. I'm going to answer it kind of. I'm looking at her name like she's standing right there, by the way. Sorry, Samantha. I'm going to rephrase that question a little bit. I'm not going to say misunderstood about podcasting because I don't really understand what that means. Like, I don't know what that means. What's something misunderstood about this podcast? That I currently have no sponsors on it. And I do and don't want sponsors. I'm very indifferent about that. I do this on my own time, usually late at night. And I do all the reach outs with a little bit of help on the side. So I do all the clipping and stuff too. So everything that really goes into this, with the exception of some help from a friend of mine, Kate, a lot of this stuff is done by me. A lot of the guests are found by me, and a lot of the guests are reached out to by me. I do all the scheduling for making sure we get a good time. And most of this stuff, and I'm telling you, most of this stuff is done late at night. And I get up early in the morning and I do my workouts and all that stuff. So it can get tough. It can get tough. All right. Matt in Orlando. Oh, hey, Matt. I think I know who that is too. Hey, Matt. It was great meeting you, first of all. How much planning actually goes into a single podcast episode? A lot. It depends on what you're talking about. Like I already talked about how the planning when I have a guest, I mean, I'll listen to podcasts, do all that stuff, the pre-planning there. But then on the other side, like I've stayed up until 2 o'clock in the morning scheduling emails and stuff like that. So they go out at certain times to make sure it hits the inboxes the right people. And then I'll already go and have a follow-up scheduled. And then if the person gets back to me, I cancel it and then go from there. So a lot of planning, hours and hours and hours of planning. Brianna said, don't know where you're from, Brianna, but thank you for listening. Is there a guest you've interviewed where you instantly thought I need to have them back on? I'll go recent because there's a ton of them. Julius, Adam, there's a lot of them. Ryu Carr. I'll go more recent. Rob Paulsen, Ava Bunn, Jordan Teamu, Momo Sanogo, Phil LaMarr, Carlos Alazraqui. I'm trying to think of some of the other episodes we've had recently. I may have just named all the episodes we've had. But the minute I had them, I mean, like at the end of it, I'll say we'll have to have a part two because these people were so great that I think they need to be back on. But there's a lot of them. And a lot of them want to come back on. It's more finding time and letting time breathe between their last episode to get people back on. But yes, absolutely 100%. Thank you, Brianna, for the questions. Eric. What's up, Eric? How did Mad Props actually get its name? That's a great question. Great question. So this podcast was originally called Offstage Radio, which is an awful, awful name. It was called Offstage Radio because I had a documentary series called Offstage. The original concept of this podcast was actually pretty good as well. It was having someone up and coming with someone that was established. Double interviews stacked on top of each other. There are some there's episodes of like that are like that out there still, but they're currently like hidden because we split them all into ones a long time ago. We split them all into ones. But After a while, I didn't want the offstage radio. I didn't want that. I never really liked the name, but I couldn't think of anything at the time because I wasn't as creative, I guess. So, that went on for a while, offstage radio. Then it kind of moved away from that concept and it was more single interviews or single guests. And it didn't really make sense to call it offstage radio. Then I don't think I've said this in a long time, but it was called All Ears. And the more I think about it, the more I don't know why when that hit me, I was like, that's an awesome name. That name is awful. That name is so bad. That was only like 2 episodes. I know Jordan Thompson was one of them. That was the first live guest we ever had. Um, I can't remember when that ended, but it ended quickly because that's a stupid name. It's so bad. It's so bad. Um, I don't remember exactly how Mad Props happened. I think someone literally just said to me, "Yo, I'll give you Mad Props for that," and it just like in like those comedy movies that are like Walk Hard, for example, when he's like he's like standing there and someone says something and he like looks off into the distance and creates a song. um that's really how it happened. It really was like, oh, that's an awesome name, and Mad Prop stuck. I'm a New Yorker. I'm not specifically from the city, but pretty dang close. And I've used Mad and Props and Mad Props a lot in my life, so it really fit well with the aesthetic we were going for. Giving people mad props, giving myself mad props, whatever you want to say. I just love the name, and that's how we got the name of that. That was a great question. I love that. I don't know how many times I've given that. I know I've given it on camera before, probably not many times. All right, Taylor from San Diego. Oh, I think I know who. Some of these, I think I know who you are. Thank you guys for sending this. And sorry, I don't even know when these were sent in, and I'm sorry. Sorry, I haven't gotten to this. Hopefully, you listened to this because these were probably a while ago. Not many more questions left, so let's crush through these. Again, I don't know why the other two didn't have it, and this one says from San Diego. Anyway, what's your favorite non-sports guest you've ever interviewed? I'm not really gonna go into favorite. There's been way more non-sports guests than sports guests overall. So, um, I don't know who my favorite is, but I think I like the non-sports guests way more than the sports guests overall, personally. But that's just me. Sorry, sorry, Taylor, I didn't really answer your question too well, but thank you for sending one. I really appreciate that. Kayla writes, "What's one piece of advice you'd give someone trying to break into content creation or sports media?" Um, I was thinking of skipping that question, but I think I'm going to keep it. If you're trying to get in sports media or content creation, just continue to do things on your own while you're trying to build yourself into something. Unless you already have if you're in college, work with your athletic departments, work with different places where you can get it for free. Like you can do high level stuff for free. Or you know what I mean? You could do high level stuff and you don't have to worry about getting the job. Um, but overall, I would say continue to do stuff on your own and build on your own so you have something to show at the end of the day. That's really all I can give on that one. I'm trying to keep this more podcast based, or it could be personality based. None of these really have. Nobody wants to know anything about me. That's fine. It's all good. Have you ever been interviewed? This is from Jason, but this have you ever been interviewed? Have you ever interviewed someone you were generally starstruck by? Not really, because I don't really get starstruck. It's not that the level of people haven't been like, whoa, but I just don't really get starstruck. Uh, Anonymous from Seattle. Why'd you say where you're from, but won't say the name? It doesn't matter. Maybe it's because the name wasn't on there. I don't know. What's one episode of Mad Props which more people have discovered? Why didn't you put your name? That's probably the best question yet. The reason I'm looking off to the side if you're watching is I want to make sure I get this right because if I remember right, the view count was not great on this. It's an old episode for sure. Um, but let me see if I can find it. I can give a couple of them because there's some old episodes that when I was first coming up, especially on there was a lot on YouTube, and not a lot of people saw some of these, and it wasn't not that it was disappointing, but I wish that I could just repost these or something. I guess I could in the future just start reposting some episodes, especially when I'm on breaks. It's actually probably not a bad idea. Uh, but I would say a lot of the ones in the beginning, I'm just gonna kind of do a little bit of a cop out answer. A lot of the ones from the beginning, Ryu Carr, Frankie Alvarez, Kid Quill, um, who else was there in the beginning? I mean, I've had this one, JB Bernstein. He's Barry Bonds' agent, didn't really get a lot of views, which I probably should have got more. Even the Jordan Thompson one didn't get a lot of views. She's not big, but that was the first in-person one we ever did. So that was a pretty big milestone. I'm looking through Charlie Rosen. I wish got more. Dan Cummins. I wish got more. I don't even talk about how Dan Cummins was on this podcast. He's a pretty big name, especially in the podcasting world. Jim, I'll say Jim Obergefell. Jim Obergefell did not get a ton of views. It was one of the first ones we did. Civil rights leader. Um, I really wish that more people saw that one because it's honestly, as a podcast, it's really, really, really good and it's really well done. Um, Great question, Mr. or Mrs. Seattle. Appreciate you. Trevor writes, "What's your favorite thing about doing podcasts compared to regular video production?" Well, I like doing podcasts because I'm very passionate about it. I wouldn't do this if I wasn't because I don't really get anything from it. Whereas video production, I'm very passionate about, but I do get a paycheck at the end of the day, which is nice. Mia writes, "If you can go back and give yourself advice when you first started Schnabel Studios, what would you say?" That's a good question. I'm going to take out the Schnabel Studios part because I didn't really start that until a couple of years ago. I'm going to change Schnabel Studios with podcasting. I kind of wish I can go back and just say do it when I first really started doing it. You know, even in high school, I wish I could say do it. I was kind of doing it back then, and I would just be building and building and building. It was already kind of a thing, especially in college. I should have just said, take your radio show and make it into podcasts and put it out there for people to listen to. Take out the songs because you can't have them. That would probably be the best piece of advice. Just do it. That's probably not great for people listening, but unless you're thinking of starting one, just do it. Just start it. But yeah, that would probably be the big one I would have. That's from Mia, right? Yeah, that was Mia. Nick, what's one hobby or interest you have outside of podcasting that your listeners probably don't know about? Well, the probably don't know about part's probably not going to work. It's probably not going to work because I I kind of tell everybody everything. Things outside of podcasting or work, I do enjoy comics. I'm rereading Invincible right now. I've already read it. Um, I really enjoy playing basketball and working out. Um, Ever since I lost a ton of weight, that's just become a big part of my life and a big part of my personality is working out and playing basketball. I played basketball this morning of recording and probably this morning of whenever you hear this as well, because I do play it a lot. But I would say basketball has been a huge part of my life. And sorry, working out, physical activity. I enjoy hanging with my family as well and my dogs who are behind me. I don't know if you could see them, but they're both behind me right now. And I really enjoy, it sounds dumb, but I enjoy working on this podcast. I enjoy that when I have that downtime, just getting on my computer and sending out emails and really working on the craft or editing or learning the statistics and figuring out why this one worked, why this one didn't. So I would say those kind of things. But overall, um, athletics is where I'm big, and I love learning things. I guess the big thing that people don't really know is I'm like infatuated. Terrified and infatuated with tornadoes at the same time. I watch Max Velocity every single time there's a tornado breakout, and I watch so many god darn tornado videos. It's crazy. I know everything about every F5, F4 devastating tornado, small tornado, crazy tornado, weird weather, everything. I know everything about it because I can't stop freaking watching that stuff. I love that stuff. I also love YouTube. Huge on YouTube. I have YouTube Music, which has been already said, but I love YouTube. I love YouTubers. I love YouTube. I love, love, love YouTube video essays. I can't get enough of them. I think they're so good. And then after I watch a YouTube video essay, I love researching that. So I like seeing what they say and then fact checking them live to see if it's real. And most of the time, they're right on the nose. That's probably the biggest one. When I'm not doing anything, I'm watching YouTube. When I'm driving, I'm listening to YouTube, not watching. I'll tell you right now, I'm not watching. I promise you that because I have YouTube Premium. I can close my phone. I'm listening to YouTube video essays. I love it. I love the stuff. I can't get enough of it. Um, Thank you, Nick, for that question. I think it was Nick. I don't remember now. Okay. What's the weirdest place you've ever edited a video or podcast? Weirdest place I've edited a video or podcast. So there's been a lot of them. I've done it on trains. I've done it on planes. I've done it in airports. Connor, I'm gonna change the question a little bit. Thank you for the question. Appreciate you. The weirdest place I've recorded a podcast is I recorded a full podcast. It's Mad Props, and it's called Walk and Talk. And I recorded the entire thing walking my dogs around the block. I wanted to get a podcast out. I don't even remember what I talked about. That was probably something on my mind. I just need to get off. And I talked about it. And it was called Walk and Talk. It's on, you can go search Mad Props Walk and Talk. It probably sounds terrible. And I was walking my dogs. Yeah, that's got to be the weirdest one I've ever done. Don't know why I did that. Who knows? Unanimous from Buffalo. What? There's two. There must be something when I did this on the AI because it's both of them say where they're from, but they don't say who did it. If you had to swap lives with one former guest for a week, who would you pick? That's awesome. Corey Kispert because he's in the NBA. Love to play in the NBA. No, that's probably it, honestly. It's probably it. I just want to play in the NBA. That's awesome. Plays for the Hawks. They made the playoffs. That's cool. Another unanimous, but this one doesn't have anything. This doesn't say where they're from. So thank you, unanimous. Be honest. How many unfinished videos or podcast concepts are sitting in your notes app right now? You would have thought I wrote that because I have a ton of them. Not really podcast concepts. Not in the notes app either. So whenever I find somebody like on Instagram that I go, oh, I think they'd be a really good guest for Mad Props, I screenshot the person. I'm actually, I think I'm gonna pull this up because it's really funny. Um, that really is a funny question because I screenshot all of them. So I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna search screen because you can search screenshots on a phone and it'll come up. So the people watching, you're gonna be able to see some of them, and for the people not watching, you will have to go watch somewhere because, oops, no, I want to do this Instagram profile. This is how you do it. So I'm not gonna go too close, but you could see like there's a bunch of Instagram profiles. Let me make sure I didn't out myself on anything here. No, yeah, these are all. Wait, this one's hilarious. This is Hello Handsome Man. I don't even remember which one that one is. But there's a lot of them like that that you could see that I screenshot, and these are people for me that I think could be really good guests. I'm trying to see what I really want to see is if there's a guest that came on that I did this with. Um, which I don't see one, but I mean like I'm telling you, I've done this so many freaking times that here's one that's coming up soon. Dang, I can't show that though. I would love to show that one, but what's this one? That's another one coming up. So this is because it's starting like so early. Like if I go, I guess if I scroll down a little bit, I might have a better opportunity to see some of these that I maybe have found on here. But anyway, I have a ton of screenshots of people. Like these are all screenshots of people. Oh, that's my girlfriend Mary at the end. They're just her face making faces at the camera. Um, that are people that I'm like, oh, this person would be great for Mad Props. Let me try to reach out to them. And I do it, and sometimes I come back to them, and sometimes I don't. So yeah, I don't see any. That's silly. I don't see any on here that are people that I eventually came back to. But yeah, it's not a notes app, but that was a great question. Let me make sure there's no more here. Um, Let's see. Okay. Let's see. We have been going. All right. Yeah, I'll do a couple more. I'm just looking on here. All right. This is from Alyssa. I did the same thing. I took some off of there and then I put them into AI, so it came up here. All right. So what's something about your personality now that's completely different from 10 years ago? Well, 10 years ago I was really fat. I was over 450 pounds. I did not work out as much. I don't think I was as driven either. Like I was driven. I worked a bunch of jobs because I wanted to get where I was, but I never really took that step to get over the hump of where I wanted to get to. So I would say that. I would say that. I'm going to skim through to see some of these to see if are you more of a planning out everything out person or a figure it out as you go person when it comes to life? I'll say right now, I don't think anybody's one thing. I think for some things you plan everything out, and for some things you do it as it goes. And I'm definitely on both sides of that. That's from Jordan and Jordan in Dallas. Okay, Jordan. Um, that's kind of where that goes. I'm kind of both. For stuff like this, very much planning it out, but the actual episode recording, figure it out as you go. Have the notes, but then kind of improvise as you go. Um, okay, what's one thing that instantly tells you someone is going to be fun to talk to? When they have the personality coming, and this is from Marcus, when they have the personality immediately and they like are responding and very engaging. I hate when somebody's on their phone. I hate when somebody's, oh yeah, like no, I don't want to talk to you at that point. I want you to be engaging. I do not look at my phone when I'm talking to somebody, and if I do, I apologize immediately. Um, so yeah, that would be that. I got one from Emily here. What's your biggest irrational fear that makes absolutely no sense? Is no longer an irrational fear, but when I was growing up, I was terrified of tornadoes. That's why I'm so infatuated with them now. Now it's not irrational because they can happen. I live in Texas now. Um, so yeah, that one was irrational, but is no longer irrational. I don't know if I have one that's like super irrational where it's never gonna happen. But yeah, what's the most Chris Schnabel thing possible that your friends would immediately recognize you for? Ooh, I don't know. I don't know. It's a great question. My friend Chandler would say, I don't know if it's the most Chris Schnabel thing. I don't know if it goes, and that's from Dylan from Chicago. Thank you, Dylan. Um, I don't know if it's the most Chris Schnabel thing possible. But he would say it's when something one thing that happens to me a lot is running into the right people or having like doing things that you wouldn't normally do. Like I obviously I interact with a lot of celebrities and stuff like that, but like I run into people that are pretty well known, but I don't know who they are, or like we're going and we're just looking at a college facility, and then I just walk up to some guy and he happens to be the facility director, and then we are able to go inside and talk to people. That kind of stuff happens to me all the time, and Chandler can definitely get my back on that one. Let's see. Let's see. What's a random skill you have that most almost never comes up in conversation? This is from Rachel. Random skill I have is I know a lot about useless things, and it doesn't come up in conversation a lot unless it's really specific towards that thing, which is upsetting because I know a lot about most small things that don't matter. I want to do like two or three more. I'm trying to look for more personality driven ones. Oh, perfect. Kayla, I don't know you, but I love you. What's the weirdest rabbit hole you've fallen onto at YouTube at 2 a.m.? Okay, there's a lot of them. One of them may be the Outdoor Boys. I love the Outdoor Boys. It's really sad that Luke is no longer making videos. I love him. He's so wholesome and his videos are so good. I will literally watch those until like 4 a.m. Easily. Watch those until 4 a.m. But the other one is tornadoes. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I'm so infatuated with tornadoes. It's crazy. I don't know why. And I can sit there and learn about every freaking tornado that has ever happened. And I could be up until 2 in the morning doing that. I get into giant rabbit holes when it comes to tornadoes. Another one I end up getting into deep rabbit holes with because they do very long videos. Not the expert. He'll do like a franchise where he'll take on like NBA 2K and make this awful team and build them up. I can get caught in that for a long time. I like his, not the expert does a good job. If you haven't watched his stuff, he's really, really good. All right, let's find one more really good one here. I This one's a good one. But I just can't. The name nor the question can I I can rephrase it a little bit, but I can't say what the person put as their name. If you were locked to survive 24 hours inside a stadium with one former Mad Props guest, who are you choosing and why? Um, it's a great question because I don't know who I would choose. There's a lot of people I really do like, but maybe Mick, maybe Jadon Mickens. I think Mickens can help me survive. Is this like an attack or like we just are locked in and can't get out? I think I'd still pick Mick. Mick knows how to do things. I think I'd pick him. That's funny. It's more funny. I can't even tell anybody why it's funny. It's more funny because of the name and a lot of the stuff in there that I had to kind of put together. I really want one more good personality question. What's one thing people always assume about you that is completely wrong? That's a good one to end with. Um, I think a lot of people assume about me that there's two kind of ways they do it. That a lot of people think I'm angry a lot, and I'm usually not angry ever. I think I just kind of have that face sometimes. I'm not an angry person. I'm actually usually a pretty happy person. Very excited. I love talking to people. I love when people come up to me. I do get frustrated at times, but never really to a point where I take it out on people directly in front of me or anything like that. I'm always willing to talk to people. I'm always willing to chat. I'm always willing to have fun. So a lot of people think I'm angry or like don't or I can be intimidating sometimes on some occasions, and then other people that are like more loud think that they can walk over my conversation, which is just not going to happen. I don't let that happen. So both sides of it. But if you see me, come talk to me. If you do see me at Comicpalooza, May 24th at 4:15 at my panel in the George R. Brown Convention Center in Houston, Texas, come say hi. I would love to say hi to you. I'd love to introduce myself, and I would love to hear from you and how you found this show and everything like that. That'd be amazing. That's May 24th, 4:15 p.m., George R. Brown Convention Center in Houston, Texas. Come to Comicpalooza. I would love to say hi to you. Even if you come the 23rd, come say hi. I will be there on the 23rd as well. Follow us on social media at Mad Props Pod on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and or X and Facebook. You can also subscribe to us on YouTube if you're not watching here already. Just go to that subscribe button, hit it to subscribe to us, and leave us a comment in the comments. I'm doing great right now. Leave a comment to us to let us know what you thought of the episode. We would love to hear from you. Give it a like, give it a comment, whatever. You can also follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcast, your favorite podcast platform. Make sure you follow us, give us 5 stars there, and you can leave a comment on, I think, Spotify and maybe even Apple, and say hello. Sometimes we see it, sometimes we don't. It depends if Spotify wants to email us telling us that we got a notification. So we appreciate when you guys do that as well. Really appreciate you being here. Thank you for all the questions. I have more, but I'm not going to do it. It's been some time now. It's been almost an hour of me answering questions. I did not expect to go this long, so I apologize for anybody that saw it and was like, "Oh my God!" But if you heard me say my apology, that you were here for the whole thing, and I appreciate you. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you stick along. We are going to have some really good guests coming up. We are filming them this week, and they'll be coming out over the weeks coming up. I will be in New York in 2 weeks, so I'm getting them all filmed now. So they're going to be a little older, but they're going to be some good guests. Like I said, on the 23rd, we might do a live from Comicpalooza, depending on if we get the right situation. You're not going to want to miss that guest. That guest is going to be fantastic. That is confirmed. I cannot wait for that one. And then we'll do the panel, and that'll become a podcast as well. So we got some good ones coming up. You're not going to want to miss it. That panel might even have a guest, so that would be really cool. But anyway, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for listening. Again, if you want to send your questions to madpropspod@gmail.com, I will get to them next time I do one of these. I do them usually once or twice a year. So go ahead and send them in, and I'll try to get to them as well. And the people that I didn't answer, there were a couple on there. I tried to answer as many as possible because there weren't 1,000 of them or anything like that. There was probably 40 of them or 50 of them. Thank you guys for doing that. For a full year, we haven't done it, and I got 50 of them. So they're probably all around the same time when I said to submit them. Thank you guys so much. All right, I'm going to end this thing. I'm Chris Schnabel. I'm your host. See you later. Thank you for being here. Love you all. This is Mad Pops. Boom.